Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Well, the debate goes on about Aliexpress watches. Who is the best? Who is the king of the castle? Is it San Martin or is it Cronos? No, not really. I'm not just kidding. This is not a competition, but I am really quite interested to see what these two watches are like side by side, what the quality is like, which do you think is actually going to be better or worse, or perhaps what is differences between them. So this is just a very quick video just to show two of the watches that I have in my collection, a San Martin watch and a Cronos watch, put them side by side and just get a bit of a feel for the positives, negatives, similarities and the differences of both watches. So let's flip the camera around now and let's check out these two watches. So San Martin watches versus Cronos watches. Well, in reality, it's not a competition. They're both great watches. They're both great watch brands. I think you're going to end up with a good watch if you buy either of these particular models or quite a few of the others in their range as well. What I really wanted to do more is just show you some of the differences between these two and a little bit differences between the sort of the brands that I've identified. Packaging, exactly the same. It's pretty much what you're going to get from this sort of brand. It even comes with some of the cheaper watches from Aliexpress. The Cronos did come with a particularly good spring removal tool, and San Martin came with some nice little tools to unscrew and do this bracelet. From a finishing perspective, I think they're actually fairly much on par. There's not a huge big difference between them. The brushing is both good on both watches. The high polish is good on both watches. The crowns look very similar. You know, you're not going to see big differences between the two. So if you're looking at a watch from a finishing perspective and you're wondering which one's best, well, there's not a big difference between the two. Bezel Action, well, these are two different style of watches, but both Bezel Actions are very good. This has a lovely, slightly muted, but very nice, firm clicking motion. The Cronos has a slightly different feel. It's a much more light and higher clicking noise. Very nice to move, very nice to feel. However, you can move this one with one finger, but there's absolutely no way you'd be able to move the San Martin with one finger. However, they're slightly different styles of watches, so you are expecting slightly different bezel actions from the two. Now, these two watches have different movements inside. We have an NH35 from Seiko, and we have a PT5000 movement in the Cronos. Both watches have the ability to have those sort of movements in them, so they're using very similar movements in their watches. Not saying that these are similar, I'm just saying you can buy Cronos with NH35s, and you can buy San Martins with that PT5000 inside them as well. So they're using similar movements. You're not really going to get much of a difference from that perspective. Where there is quite a bit of a difference is in the bracelet construction, especially from these particular watches. Let's talk about the San Martin bracelet, because this is an amazing bracelet. Both the finishing, the fit, the feel, and the look. These rivets are amazing, I really like it, and it comes with this very nice milled clasp. This is probably one of my favorite bracelets on any watch. I really enjoy this one. It's done to a really high standard. It feels really good, very nice, certainly feel very secure about wearing it. You know that it's going to last a long, long time. When it comes to the Cronos bracelet, it is also very nice. It fits okay. There is a little bit more movement, however, both in those end links. The finish on the bracelet is very well done. However, there is a little bit of grabbing, so it hasn't been quite finished properly from that perspective, more of a QC sort of issue. Whereas the San Martin, there's actually no issues whatsoever with that bracelet. It feels completely finished, completely well done. But it does tend to grab a little bit, this one here, and it does tend to squeak a little bit when you're wearing it. Hear it? Here we go. It's my squeaky watch. And the buckle on this one, it's obviously homaging the Rolex. It's done fairly well. If you watched my previous video about this watch, you'll know that I've had some issues with this particular bracelet. I'm not sure if that's going to be a regular issue for people, or maybe I just ended up with a bit of a bad one. I end up with a reasonable outcome from that. However, it did show that there is potential for problems with these watches. I'm sure San Martin has a few issues occasionally as well, so I'm not going to identify to say that these watches here from Cronos are worse from that perspective, but in my experience, there was a bit of an issue with the bracelet on this one, whereas this one's perfect.
And even without those issues, that squeaking bracelet, the fact that it doesn't fit quite as well, certainly to me, it shows that the San Martin is superior in that aspect. From, say, a loom perspective, they're both very good as well. I'm not really going to say one's better than the other, so I think they both get full marks from a loom perspective. But what's my own personal feelings? Well, I think I have to agree with a lot of people. San Martin certainly has a slightly better feel to it. This particular watch I do like as well, so it makes it a little bit unfair. I probably prefer the styling of this one over the more current sort of homaged Submariner style that this one has on the Cronos. And it just feels like I want to keep hold of this one. I love this bracelet. It's really, really nice to wear. So for me, this is the winner. But as I said earlier on, it's not a competition. They're both great watches. Thank you very much for watching my comparison between these two. I know it's not really a fair comparison because there's only one watch from each of from the company, but I just wanted to show you the two that I had and the differences that I can identify from them and give you my own personal choice if I was going to choose one over the other. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon.